So this will be there on eClass for you to reference back to. So you guys are going to be, this is your moment of fame.
Yes, we are live now too, so you can wave and have your moment of fame here. So my name's Naomi Hartle. I'm a teacher in Star City School. Star City is about a town of about 460 people. We have, I think our number now is 93 students in the school. It's a K-12 school. And yeah, it's just a tiny little place. There's about 10 teachers, and I teach 3 to 10 phys ed this year, and then I have Math 9 and Math 10, and then I teach Career Health Guidance 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I teach a few different classes, and my mind's all over the place half the time, but I enjoy it. I'm having fun with it. Yeah, I'm doing presentation here. Sorry, girls. Sorry, live presentation. Kids thought they could come in here. So I guess I can get started. Do you have any questions for me right now before I start?
No, they're good.
No. Okay, perfect. I'll share my screen here then. And then let me know if you can't see it. Oh, we've got a tunnel thing. Is this, can you see my screen now?
Yep, we're good.
You're good? Okay, perfect. So if you want, you could, I think Stacy shared the handout with you here. So this class resource that I created. So basically this resource, this doc, is just everything for my presentation, just more in depth. So just because I know sometimes when I go to presentations, you have them with their slideshow, but then sometimes when you get home, you're just like, okay, what were they talking about this? Or you tried to take notes, and then maybe you don't have the neatest writing like I have, and you're like, hey, what does that say? I don't remember the context that this was coming in. So I thought I'd create a resource, and this was kind of the same one that I created last year for last year's group, but I just added more stuff to it. So you're the lucky group because you get more stuff. Maybe it's a little overwhelming too, hopefully not. And then just when you have checked out this presentation as well, anything in here is linked, so you can check that out as well. So just click on the stuff. So some of you may or may not be on Twitter right now. So what I thought would be kind of a neat thing to do is if you're on Twitter, that's fantastic. You can kind of tweet about this, and I'll tell you the hashtag that we can use. But if you're not on Twitter, I want you to type in todaysmeet.com and then /techinpe. And it's just going to bring up, it's called Today's Meet, and it's a really neat thing that you can use in any presentation or any class or anything that you're doing for like a back channel with your students. So you could have like if you're watching a video, or if you have somebody that's coming in to present on something, you could have this back channel come up, and basically they can just like ask questions or comment on things as you go through the presentation, and then that's something you can come back to. So todaysmeet.com /techinpe. And then this is what it looks like. So all you have to do is type your nickname in. So Naomi, join, and then a message. So basically my first message to you, so I just said welcome to the back channel. If you have any questions or comments throughout the presentation, please post them here. And then at the end of class, we can discuss them. Or if I don't get to it at the end of this, I can kind of maybe address it as in an email to you later on, or like a video message to you as well. And then why would you integrate meaningful technology into your phys ed classes? So maybe that's something if you want to start, you can think about that and answer it. You don't have to have your actual name. You could have a code name, but obviously please make it appropriate. I think you're all okay with that one. So next one, why integrate technology into phys ed? So that was a question I just asked you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a tweet out to my Twitter folks and see what they all say. So all PE Geeks, I'm doing a live presentation for pre-service teachers right now. My question, why integrate meaningful tech into phys ed? Please use hashtag #EDSE_TechPE. So if you want to follow the hashtag on Twitter and see what's going on, you can just click on, or not click, but type in the hashtag #EDSE_TechPE, and then we can see what happens here. So tweet has been sent out, so we'll see what we get from there. So my first thing, and one of the things I always talk about when I'm presenting on tech and phys ed and meaningful tech in PE is what comes first, the drill or the hole in the wall? And there's a really neat kind of saying, and it's when you go to the hardware store to buy a drill, you don't actually want a drill, you want a hole. They don't sell holes at the hardware store, but they do sell drills, which are the technology used to make the holes. We must not lose sight that technology for the most part is a tool, and it should be used in an educational sense. And I really like that saying because it really makes me think, what comes first, technology or the pedagogy? pedagogy always comes first. What you're teaching your students always, always, always comes first. And technology should be brought in to either make things easier for you, to be able to manage things better, and just to be able to have your classroom flow better, help your students have a deeper understanding of the material. So that's one thing that I caution when people use technology. It can't just be a gimmick. When I first learned about QR codes, it was a gimmick for me. I created myself a QR code t-shirt. I thought I was the coolest thing. I was walking around with it. I had kids scanning it with like a question. They could come to me and get like a prize if they answered the question. It was just strictly a gimmick. And as I've kind of gone through the process, I'm only in my 4th year of teaching right now, so as I've gone through my many, many years of teaching, note the sarcasm, I've kind of started to realize exactly how I need to be implementing technology into phys ed and how purposeful and meaningful it needs to be. So the following are just some key questions that I'd like you to think about when you're implementing technology in your classroom. And these are not, they do not come from me. The credit goes to Patty Castell and Nathan Horn on one of their crowdsourced documents that they created. And if you are on the presentation, if you're checking it out, I have the link right down here that you can click on. So if you want to check out that crowdsourced document that they created, it's right there. And then I have their little pictures so that they get credited for it. So when you're using technology, will this activity and the use of technology enhance student learning, or is it just a cool gadget? So something I want you to think about when you're doing this. Like I said with my QR code, at first it was just a cool gadget, but it needs to have a purpose. So what learning outcome will this activity help your students achieve? So what's the focus? What's your learning objective? What are you, so I mean, in my school or in my classes, I always have like a question or a big idea. And the technology that I'm using must be used to help the students reach that idea or reach the outcome. Does the choice of device best serve the needs, the students' needs in learning this skill? So, I mean, at my school, I've been very lucky. We have iPads, we have laptops, we have Chromebooks, we have desktop computers, we have a whole bunch of different stuff. So, is the device that I'm using going to best suit my learners' needs? So, is it practical to have a laptop with the students running around with a laptop in the gym? Probably not. They might drop it. That's probably not a good idea. If you have it sitting on the stage, yeah, that might be a good idea if you have a stage or a place that you can put it. But an iPad might be more realistic. And, you know, what level? Do you have kindergartens or do you have grade 12s? So what is their ability to use the device as well? So can you use the device efficiently to maximize physical activity while using technology? So one of the things in phys ed that we caution about using technology is that we want to make sure it enhances the physical movement that we have, and then it's not going to be something that kids have to stop and take 20 minutes to figure out. I tried implementing Sportfolios in my classroom last year, and I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I found that it took a lot of time just waiting for the kids to log into the computers. So there was a lot of wasted time when I was doing that. So, I mean, I've reflected on that, and something that I need to kind of figure out and do a better job of as I go throughout this year when we do our e-portfolios. So it's something to think about. So how can we maximize physical activity within our classes and maximize the movement component and use technology? Do you have resources needed to teach this lesson? So do you have Wi-Fi in your gym? Can you access YouTube? I don't know how many times I've had a YouTube video like loaded and ready on my screen, and then the kids have come in and it's not working. And I'm just like, ah, like, come on. Like, seriously, it was just working a minute ago. So maybe download the video ahead of time or be prepared for it. And then making sure that the apps are available on your device, making sure that it's not just, I mean, if you only have one iPad in your class, how can you use that to maximize efficiency? So maybe station work or having it on this spot. So sometimes throughout the class, they're calling on a student to go do a quick reflection. So it's not where you're taking, kids are all waiting for their turn. You can have things happening while somebody's reflecting. Does the use of technology help students create, communicate, collaborate, explore, connect, extend their learning, and encourage them to be lifelong learners? I think that kind of bubble right there is pretty self-explanatory. What is the purpose of your technology? Why are we using it? And then do you think, or do you see technology as a tool for students to think with? So just really good questions for you to think about before implementing technology into your classroom and making sure that it is a meaningful integration. Do we have any questions yet?
Nope, doesn't seem like it.
Okay. All right. So
hold on, Naomi. Yep, we've got one.
Just quickly, like, what's your phys ed background? Are you a phys ed graduate, like from U of A, or?
Great question. I went to the University of Saskatchewan, and I have My bachelor's degree in kinesiology and in education. So I came out of school with 2 degrees. So it was the Kin Ed combined program.
Okay.
Naomi, did you have a major minor kind of thing within?
Oh, yes. My major was phys ed and my minor was biology. And here I am teaching math. So it's been an interesting ride, that's for sure. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So now I want you to bring out your devices, so your smartphone, and I want you to answer this question for me. So as we kind of go through the process, I want to ask you, and I've asked you this already, but why integrate technology into your phys ed lessons? So this is kind of a fun activity that I do with my students, sometimes in my phys ed classes, sometimes in my math classes, because sometimes you have kids that are shy and they don't want to answer with their hand up. So Pull Everywhere is a really neat tool that you can use to bring technology in the sense that it allows my students that don't want to say anything to have a voice. It's anonymous. So if you text to this number, 37607, and then in your message put 570469, and then type why you'd integrate technology into your phys ed lessons. And I'll have it pop up here. And what will pop up is your answers here. So once again, texting to 37607, and then in the message of your text, 570469, and then answer why you would integrate technology into your phys ed lessons. This is a little bit of a pre-assessment to see what you know, or where your thoughts are at with everything. So we'll wait for a couple seconds and see if we get anything popping up. If anybody's brave enough to send a message out. Ooh, to support the 21st century learner. Love it.
Someone took my idea.
It'll engage the students, absolutely. I find like with our students right now too, they're on their devices all the time, and this is how they live. This is what they breathe. So bringing that in, it's just what they do, right? It's who they are. I mean, and even for myself, I'm always on my phone. I'm always doing everything with technology. So it's just teaching how they learn. Is kind of how I feel about with the technology. Because students love technology, because technology is everywhere in children's lives, to appeal to various learner styles, helps engage students, relates the student to making learning relevant. Well, these are fantastic. So you can differentiate based on student interest. Get the techie kids who aren't phys ed crazy. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. Second nature to students, absolutely. Isn't it distracting? Ah, great question. And that's the one thing that you have to have a conversation with your kids ahead of time about the technology piece. It shouldn't be distracting. For an activity like this with your students, the very first time, I always have that conversation with them and saying, okay, so you're going to think that this is a fun thing to do at the very beginning, and it's a great thing to do, but there's a purpose for it. There's a reason why I'm doing this. And, we go out, basically how I explained it to you before, we go and we talk about it, and we talk about why we're doing it, and then that, we want to be as appropriate as possible. Sometimes you'll have kids being like, hey, how's it going? And that's what they'll send in their text message, and then everybody laughs. I have kids, there's like 8 kids in some of my classes, so I know who said what, in a sense, right? In bigger classes, this is really nice. When I was at Carleton, my first year teaching, I had 30-some kids in a class. So for this, it was really easy for me, or really nice for me, to see where everybody's thinking is at. So with the distraction piece, don't let it be distracting to them. If it becomes a distraction, we are not implementing it correctly. So something to think about. Okay, we'll keep going. So why integrate technology? I had sent this tweet out last year, so last time I had done this presentation, and just to kind of see what some people had said. So some of the things that I use technology for in my phys ed lessons is for my own management, like classroom management, behavior management, organization, to record my data with my assessments, video analysis, and student and teacher reflection. There's a nice thing too is, especially with some of the video analysis, it's a quick feedback for the students. It's just really nice for them to see. Whereas if I'm explaining something to them, they may not understand it until I've shown them what they look like doing something, and then they're like, oh, I get it now. So Brendan Jones says, makes learning connect with the real world, helps student learning and engagement. And we'll talk about the SAMR model right away. Ken Ford said evidence and ongoing record of learning, so both students and teacher, makes discussions about phys ed progress more productive and authentic. And then a couple more. Peer assessment feedback extends learning beyond the lessons. So, I mean, we have this Tech and PE back channel going on TeachMeet or on Twitter, you know, it's not just in the classroom that this is happening. We could be having this discussion outside of classroom. So it takes their learning further, which is really neat. Set goals as part of data, and students can access and revise as goals are met, and parents can access and support. So like our student portfolios or e-portfolios, you know, we can show parents what we're learning, and then parents can have those conversations with their kids as well. So you may be asking, well, how do I use technology in phys ed? One of the first things that I kind of discovered or saw, and this was from Jared Robinson. He's Mr. Robo on, or Mr. Robo, I think. I always pronounce it wrong, on Twitter. He's the PE geek. That's what everybody calls him. And this program is called Air Server. And the really neat thing is that I can take what's on my lap, so you can see in this picture my iPad, and I'm projecting it onto the screen. So I don't have to buy a $100 Apple TV. I just pay for this program through Air Server, and it just basically is like a reflection app that goes onto my screen, and it's like $15 for like 5 computers, and you don't have to like pay that fee every year. It's just $15 flat. So it's a really neat thing to do. So now I can be walking around the gym with my iPad without having a cord connected to it, and it's I can have the iPad up, whatever's on my screen, I can have it pop up there. So if I'm showing a video, or if I do some video analysis with one of my students and say, okay, we just did this video analysis, we talked about this, I'm seeing lots of kids are having this, or struggling with this piece, let's put this up there, put the video up and say, okay, this is what it looks like, so this is what we're seeing. So then you can stop the class and talk about it quickly and then bring it back. So just a neat little way to kind of take what's on your iPad and project it up onto the screen. So it is through your computer, so you do have to have your computer hooked up. But it's a cheaper version of Apple TV. And there are like reflector apps and things that you can use as well. I've never used those ones before, but AirServer is just the one that I've used. Another way that I bring technology into my phys ed classes is with Google Apps. And I mean, I've done just presentations specifically on Google Apps, so I'm not going to be able to get into this specific, like everything about it, but if you want to know more, please just ask me, and I'd love to talk to you about it. But I've used Google Apps for Education. We're Google Apps for Education School. So we have Google Drive, and we use ePortfolios, so our Google Sites. We use, well, Google Sites for our ePortfolios. And then there's also this thing, and it's called Google Add-ons. That's kind of the new thing that's kind of come out, and basically it just allows you to kind of take what you use with your Google Apps, so Google Docs and Google Sheets, and kind of amplify it to and be able to manipulate it for what you have. So when I use a Google form, so is your class familiar with Google Apps for Education at all?
They're shaking their heads half, others are still looking like they're deer in headlights.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can give you an example of what this looks like. So this would be this is my personal drive, so Google Apps for Education. And basically, so all of our students have access to this. So really, it's just like an online storage system, kind of. And I mean, there's different components to it. You can have your Google Drive, you can have Gmail. So there's a whole bunch of different apps within it. But Google Drive is the one that we use. So we can have folders of all of our different files, and then we have Docs, so what I'm presenting to you right now on is my Google presentation, spreadsheets, and Google Forms. So all of our kids have access to this, and it's really quite neat because this is like, instead of having a binder for the kids, this is their binder, or that's how I kind of explain it to them. Now this is my personal account, this isn't my school account, but very similar. So what I do is I have forms that I use with my kids. So I will have, so for example, as a teacher, now I'm not going to go through every different form because I don't think we have time, because I have to be done by 10 o'clock. So for example, this form right here. So on my wall I have a QR code, and one of the things that we focus on with my students is Helson's level, so that's in our curriculum. And so there is, teaching personal social responsibility. So with my younger students, we talk about self-regulation. And this was an idea from Joey Fight that I borrowed from him and that I use because it's a fantastic idea. And what he did was he created a form that was linked to a QR code. And so when the students were at like level 0 and just weren't listening, he'd have them go off and self-reflect. They'd take the iPad, scan the QR code, and then this form would pop up. So they would have to type in their name. They'd have to, so I adapted the form a little bit to kind of my needs, but I'd ask them why they were self-regulating, how's their behavior affecting the classroom, how's it affecting their own learning, what level do they need to be at, etc. So it's a good place for the students to reflect. And then the reason why, I mean, I could have the kids write this down on a sheet as well, but for me, this goes to a spreadsheet where, so I don't have the spreadsheet specifically linked to this one right now, but it'll go to a spreadsheet, and all the students' answers will be in here. So I'm not fumbling with a bunch of paper, or I'm not losing all of the paper of all these students that need to self-regulate. Not that I have a lot of students that need to self-regulate, but then I'm not trying to file these away somewhere. It's all in my Google Drive. It's all accessible in one spot. And then I don't have to write a note in my day planner saying, okay, Johnny had to self-assess, this is what happened, just as a note so that, you know, having everything kind of documented, it's all in here. I can go back and say, okay, well, this is what happened. Parents can come talk to me and say, well, what happened? I heard that they had to self-regulate. Well, I could show them this, or, you know, with the new add-ons, it allows me to actually, once that form is submitted, I can have this add-on that actually sends an email with the student's response. So the parent gets it immediately. So it's really just kind of the way Google Apps works and how you can kind of manipulate it. It's really quite neat. And again, I can't go into all details of everything that's happening or how I'm using it, because that would be a very long presentation. But it's just a really great way for me to maximize what I'm doing. Like, I'm looking at 18 curriculums this year. I don't have time to create a bunch of different things. I have this all created from last year, but it's just, I need to make things as efficient for myself as possible. All that extra busy work, I can't do that. There's no time for that, because I'm just trying to focus on my content and my assessment and everything else. So anything that I can make it more manageable for myself, I'm going to do. So rather than trying to find a place to store files away, everything's in one spot on my Google Drive. So it's just a way easy, one less thing for me to think of. If I have one less thing for me to think of, it's perfect. So that's one way that I use Google Apps for Education, and Google Forms is how I use this one. There's also like assessments that I do. So one time I did a station work assessment with my students, and we were doing backwards roll. Now I don't have that example, but you can check out the examples I have here later. But I had students in a station, and so at my station I had them doing a backwards roll. So I'd help them with the backwards roll. I grabbed my iPad, I'd assess them, Kate, next student. And then, I mean, I could use it, again, I could have a clipboard with a pencil and just checking things off from there, but all of that information goes into my spreadsheet, and that's the beauty of Google Forms. So I hope you're kind of understand. It's hard to kind of explain or show you what that looks like through just talking to you, but it really is a neat thing when I'm trying to lose the paperwork and have it all in one spot. Do we have any questions about Google Apps or Forms?
No, we're good.
Okay. So the next thing that I was going to talk about a little bit was Sportfolio. So at our school, we don't do parent-teacher conferences. And that's what I grew up with, where, you know, my parents would go, and I would dread it because they'd come home and I'd be like, oh, please let them have, like, please let my teachers have said something good about me. Or they'd come home and be like, guess what your teacher said? And I was like, oh, no, freaking out. But here it's a conversation. It's a three-way conversation. So we call them student-led conferences because the students lead the conversation. And so what we do is the students come with the parent, and the students have created an e-portfolio. So basically it's a documentation of everything that they're doing in their classes. So as teachers, you know, we go throughout the process, throughout this, in the beginning of the year, we have them create their e-portfolios, and it's just a place where they can reflect. So this is just a snapshot of the Sportfolio that I done last year with my students. I've changed things up a little bit this year, because, and here's where I want to kind of maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that I've risked trying to do, and then they completely failed. So my Sportfolio idea completely failed. It was way too confusing for my students because they had an e-portfolio, and then they had their Sportfolio. So they're like, which one are we using? So now we're just sticking to the e-portfolio. So it's just one place where we have all of our classes listed on the side, and then they click on the class, and then they have a reflection from all of the units or the outcomes or whatever their themes that they're talking about, and they have a reflection. Sometimes they'll upload videos of what they're doing in class. Sometimes they'll upload reflection pieces or assignments, different things like that. So then when the parents come in, the students are talking about this with their parent. So it's not a conversation about the child. It's a child showing what they're learning in classes, in their classes, and it's a conversation with the child. So it's a really neat concept about how we're doing this, and it's been working really well so far.
Naomi,
So that's kind of, yep.
have you uploaded any videos, or do you have lots of students, maybe in 7, 8, and 9, that are at the stage that they're uploading videos from phys ed to their e-portfolios this year?
I haven't done any of that yet, but last year, even my grade 3s and 4s were uploading their videos.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
and then videos just meaning that you've given them the iPads, they've gone off in small group work or individual work, partner shared stuff, and they're recording, because you're not using Coach's Eye with grade 3s, I'm assuming, right?
No, that's just where they are videotaping each other doing a skill, and it's just using the camera app.
Okay, the camera app off. And then that is easily uploaded, and then parents can physically see what their child is doing, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the nice thing, how I have things structured with Google Drive, is that I have them upload they just log into their Google Drive account, and then I have a folder shared with them, so they just upload their folder straight into that Google Drive file. And then they can all go into that folder and then find their video and then upload it to their e-portfolio.
Cool.
Just try to maximize the efficiency of everything. Yeah. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was a little bit about how I incorporated QR codes into my classes. One of the first things that I had done, and I wrote a blog post about this, and I talk about this all the time because this is one of the things that I tried, and it worked okay, but again, it was one of the things that kind of not failed or bombed, but something that I reflected on. And I really want to talk about this because a lot of the times when we talk about things, it's all the great things that we're doing in our classes. And I try a lot of things, and sometimes they just bomb, and it's okay. Like we pick ourselves back up, the kids give us reflection, they give us some feedback, and we try again. So one of the things with the QR code geocaching that I did was I wanted to set up a geocaching course for my students. I wanted them to use GPS units. So I borrowed GPS units from our Assess Parks and Recreation, and I placed QR codes on each of my little caches, and I hid them around the sports grounds. And what I had done was I had linked to those caches, or to those QR codes, linked to the QR codes, a Google form. And all they had to do was once they got to that cache, one of the students had the GPS unit and the other student had their phone, and they would scan the QR code, fill out the form, and then that form, that answer would come to me all in one spreadsheet. So I knew where my students were. So even if I couldn't see them, I knew where they were. Now some people would say, well, why didn't you just have like little chips or something in each of the caches that they would take a different color so you know if they got it? I could do that too, but I wanted to track where my students were, so I knew where they were going. So that was kind of the purpose as to why I'd done the QR code. This time, it took a lot of time for me to set up for what I got out of it, so I wouldn't do that again myself personally, now that I've kind of reflected on it, but for me at the time, it served a purpose for how can I know where my students are while they're doing this activity, because it was a big area, and it was my first year here, so I didn't want to lose any kids, so that was one way for me to know where the kids were at. So another couple ways that I've used QR codes in my classes, I've done station work. So I've had a video linked to a QR code at a station, and it was like a colleague and I had created posters on, because we were talking about muscles and bones, because I have split classes. So one of my students were talking about the skeletal system, and one of my students, they were talking about the muscular system, or one of my group of students. And so what I did was I tried to combine them together a little bit. So the picture would show the muscle and the bone, so your bicep and your humerus, and then the video would be linked to an exercise that would be used to focus on those areas. So the student would do those exercises. So for me, I mean, we'd go around and we'd talk about each of the exercises before they do the station, but then it was always like, Miss Hartle, what do I do here? What do I do here? Or they weren't doing things in the right way because they'd forget. So this was for them it took a little bit longer because they'd have to watch the video, but it was done better. There's more quality to what they were doing. So I was willing to give up a little bit of the physical activity time in order for them to do things properly. Because I know whenever we do any type of exercise, if it's not done right, then there's no point in doing it. We need to make sure that they're doing things properly, and form is huge. So that was one of the things that I sacrificed in order for them to have proper form. And it worked so well. Because, I mean, my classes are small, but again, if I had 30 kids in a class, like last year when I had my 7, 8, 9 triple split class with 34 kids, you saw my gym, in my small little gym, the station work worked really, really, really well, because then I was running back and forth amongst all of them. They could watch the video, and then I had time to walk amongst everybody and just tweak things if I needed to. So that was another way that I kind of used QR codes. And there's more ways too, but if you want more ways, just ask me. I'm going to keep going here so I have time to keep going. Another way, other than using QR codes, would be augmented reality. And I don't know if you've heard about any of this kind of stuff, but it's really kind of neat. And I've just breached the surface of this. I haven't even had a chance to try some of this stuff out of my class yet, but I just wanted to kind of talk about it and make you aware of augmented reality because it's kind of the wave of the future. I don't know how you want to call it, but it's really neat. It's kind of like the QR codes, but nicer. Like QR codes are ugly. Like they just look ugly. Whereas with this augmented reality, like if you see this picture over here, so this is called 4D Anatomy, and it's an app that you can get, and it's a program on your computer that you can have. And sorry, just an app. And what you do is you have this piece of paper in the background here, and you open up your app, and it has like the scanner on it, and you hold your phone or your device over top of this picture, and this little human body pops up. So it can show the kids what the whole human body looks like. Like, that is way better than that flat person on the picture back there, or like than my Muscle Man poster that I have on the wall. Like, this is huge, and then you can like click on the different parts of the body that you want to show them. So like the muscles can pop up, or just the bones, and then you can like turn the person around and zoom in, and it's so neat. So that one is kind of cool. So when I'm doing my muscle system with my kids this year, this is an app that I'm going to be using for them to check things out because they can actually see it and actually envision what a human body actually looks like. So that one is really cool. Erasma is another app, or I think it's, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm butchering it, sorry. Erasma, I'm just going to say. This one is kind of neat too because instead of having your QR code, you can have like a picture on the wall. You hold up the Erasma app over top of the picture, and you can have this video overlay over top of the picture, kind of like this little Muscle Man is. And you can have a video of a kid doing an activity. So if I have like a skill-related components of fitness, balance, for example. Now I want my students coming in the right, so maybe when my students come into the gym, I want them doing some activity or movement as I'm kind of setting things up. So I could have them come in with posters, so skill-related components of fitness posters, and have balance and have them doing like station work. So balance, they could scan it, they could have, and then a video could pop up with an activity that they can do for the balance. Instead of having something that they'd have to read, they can watch a video. And the nice thing about this too is that it's differentiated for students that maybe cannot read. I have students that can't read. I mean, little ones to high school ones that have difficulty reading. So you can have the video pop up so they can just watch what they have to do instead of having to read it. So you can hit all different learning levels. So again, I mean, you could do that with a QR code as well. But the Erasma app, it's just, again, it's visually more appealing. And then the DAQRI is a program that you can use as well. So some more things. And I have that all kind of listed in this document somewhere in here. There. And you can click on these links. And then I just want to give out a shout out to Colin Brooks. He works on works with the Physpedagogy crew, and he's done a lot of blog posts about augmented reality and just how he's using it with his classes and just in his school. So I highly recommend you like clicking on this link and checking it out, or clicking on him here and checking out his Twitter feed, because he is, I call him the king of the augmented reality, because he's got some fantastic things to share on that. So yeah, check that out if you want. And if you want more information, I don't know a whole bunch about it yet. I haven't had a chance to play around with it, but that's one of my goals I'm going to focus on this year, is to bring that into my classroom, just because of how awesome it is for the kids to see these things. And but he's definitely the person to shout out to. But you can ask me a question, I can forward you to the people that know more about it. Pedometers. We all know the importance of, or how awesome pedometers are. I used pedometers in my class one time, and the goal was to get 3,000 steps, or maybe it was 1,000 steps in 10 minutes, or something like that. I know it was 3,000 steps in 15 minutes. And that was the most I've ever seen my kids move. And I told them, I was like, you have to create your own way. You need to get 3,000 steps. How are you going to do it? And so it was a challenge that I threw out to them, and it was fantastic. So we may not think that pedometers are the technology that we want to implement, but it's such a simple thing to use. And you can get little cheap ones as well. So that one's kind of a neat one too. Also, heart rate monitors. I haven't used that one, and I don't even have that in the slide here. I haven't used heart rate monitors because we haven't been able to buy any yet at my school. But even trying to get like a heart rate wand, and you could have students, you could have a station set up, and you could have kids throughout your class go and check out their pulse or their heart rate on the heart rate wand, put it down, and then call in the next kid, and just have them record it. And that would be a neat thing for kids just to do a self-check-in of what level they're at. So just another neat thing that they could use. Any questions about that stuff so far?
Yep, one question.
Okay.
What's your budget like as a teacher, if you don't mind me asking?
That's a great question. I think we went over budget this year. I can't remember. Maybe I have $600, I think. It depends on your schools. I know at Carleton we had a big budget because there's 2,000 kids from grades 9 to 12 in that school. We only have 93 kids in our school, so our budget's going to be a little bit smaller. So there are grants that you can write to. Now, I've never written a grant, but I highly recommend looking into some of those things. If you can get some money, or I know there's like in a small community and even in bigger communities too, if you go out to the community and out to the public and say, this is something that we're looking for, you know, there's different proposals that you can put out there that people would be willing to pay money to kind of support you within your programs. Now, some schools don't promote the fundraising component of it, so you obviously have to check and you know, check out the protocol on that. But yeah, just some things to kind of think about and check out, like when you get into your schools, what can you do to get more things into your school? Some companies might donate things for you to use. I think it's the Polar Heart Rate Group, and I can't remember what they're called, but they have the heart rate monitors. I don't know if they donate, but they come to conferences sometimes and check things out. And I know in the States you could write a grant for some. Now, in Canada, I don't think you could do that, and I was pretty disappointed because I wanted to do it. But check things out. Go onto your local Phys Ed Association website, check out PHE Canada's website, and just see the different grants that are kind of posted. I know in Saskatchewan Parks and Recreation, they have a whole bunch of grants that you can sign up for. So I don't know what it's like in Alberta, but same thing. As many things as you can check out, write those grants, because the more money you can get, the more opportunities you can provide for your kids. Hopefully that answered your question.
I'll answer that more once Naomi's done, because I have some answers for that.
Perfect. So I'm just going to get into some quick video analysis apps. So Coach's Eye, and I think you guys talked about that as well in one of your classes, so I won't go into that one too much, or at all, because you know how it works. But there is one, it's called BAM Video Delay. Now, I haven't used this, and I've talked about this every presentation, and I haven't had a chance to use it, but it's a really neat app, and because I've seen it being used before. But it's like, I believe the video delay is 30 seconds. So you could have one student holding the iPad, videoing one of your kids doing a skill or whatever it is that they're doing, or even like a dance if you're doing dance with your students, or rhythmic movement. And you can have the kids one kid videoing the group or the person, and then they finish, they come back, and then it loops around, so then they can watch that 30 seconds, and then it's deleted automatically. So then you're not taking up camera space on your app, but it's a quick student feedback to see what they're doing, and then go back to trying to tweak things. So really a neat little app of just quick student feedback. Another couple apps that I really enjoy, obviously my Google Drive, obviously Coach's Eye, Enigma, or Enigma, I don't know how you pronounce it. Again, I butcher names, so I apologize. So the QR code scanner. But one that I really like to use is the Music Workout Interval Timer app. And this app is really neat because if I'm doing like circuit stations with my students, I can have it on my iPod, and then it kind of basically at a certain time it'll count down the time, and then it'll ding or it'll beep or it'll pause, whatever you want it to do, and then the kids know to move. So I'm not blowing my whistle all the time or trying to focus on like counting down the time, okay, and move, okay, and rotate. I can focus on helping my students, and basically this manages the class. So for classroom management piece, when you're doing a station work with your students of whatever it is that you're doing in the station, this is really a neat little interval timer. This one here is Yoga Studio. It's a neat one that I've used a couple times with my students. I'm not yoga, I can't teach yoga. I've done it before, but I'm not certified. So this just has a whole bunch of neat videos that you can download and show to your students. And then just a Teaching Games for Understanding app created by Nicholas Stratigolopoulos. Sorry, Nicholas, I think I butchered your name. But he created this app, and it's really neat because it has a whole bunch of different activities that you can do. So you can check that one out as well. And I need to start talking a little bit faster. Faster than I am already talking. So the last app that I really love, and I was hoping to show that one a little bit this morning with my music, but I didn't get a chance to set it up, is Tango Remote. So as you can see, I have my iPod and my phone, and through the Wi-Fi, so one thing you need to make sure is that over Wi-Fi, it needs to be connected on the same network, but I can basically control my music from my iPod on my iPhone. So I can be in the middle of the gym pressing pause or start or decrease music or increase the sound, and I'm not turning my back to my students. So my first year with my little guys, my grade 3s and 4s, whenever I turn my back to them, they'd be off task. So, I'm trying to promote on-task behavior at all times, even when my back is turned, but sometimes they need a little bit more support. So this way I can be facing my students at all times. So basically it's just a remote, and it's really neat to use. So that's a neat one to kind of check out. Okay, about 12 minutes left. I'll talk fast. So how did I get involved? How can you get involved? Basically, I am where I'm at today with my understanding of technology, and I have so much to go. I'm no expert by any means, and I will always claim that I'm never an expert. I may be somewhat knowledgeable in some of the components of the field, but I'm not an expert by any means. But I have gained this knowledge through social media, through getting on Twitter and connecting with people. So I strongly encourage, even if it's out of your comfort zone, just sign up for Twitter, check it out, be a lurker. You're allowed to lurk. It's okay. It's not creepy at all. It's fine. And that's how people start. They lurk, they watch. And then as you get in, you might see a conversation that maybe you can be a part of or you can provide some insight onto. Even as a pre-service teacher, you know what's happening. You know what's going on. You have an opinion. And even to just have a conversation with somebody that's been teaching already is really kind of neat. So I've been able to connect with people all over the world. And I've been involved in some projects that are quite neat. And it's all because I've been connected on social media, and I took that chance to step out of my comfort zone. I don't know who said it, but somebody said when you step out of the comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. And I strongly, strongly believe that. So, going on Twitter and Google and, following people with a common interest, so my phys ed background, participating in a PE chat that happens bi-weekly where basically we have a topic and you just tweet about it. You talk about it with people. There are only 140 characters that you can use in a tweet, so you have to be careful in that sense, but it's awesome because it's quick little mini blogs, kind of. Asking other people questions. One time I was doing, I don't even remember what it was, but I had asked a question, I threw a question out on Twitter, and in about 10 minutes I had like 5 people answer the question and give me support and some resources that I could use. It was awesome, especially if you're a teacher in like a rural area where, I'm the phys ed department, me alone. Who can I talk to? Especially all the curriculums that I'm looking at, everything that you're doing out in the school. That's one of the things that I'm like, they don't teach in university, all the extra stuff that you need to do to be involved in your community. But all that extra stuff, I don't have time to go out and meet with people all the time. If I can get involved, if you can get involved on Twitter, you can talk to those people from the comfort of your home or from the comfort of just on your cell phone. It's a really easy thing to do. So, and just getting connected. If there's a project or something happening, say, hey, can I get involved? So some neat things to kind of check out. I've talked about Twitter, so the power of Twitter. Now, the power of Twitter, if you don't know about Twitter, you want to get involved, you're not really sure how to do that, I'm doing a presentation for Spark PE on the 15th of October. The title is Join the Global PE Community Online. So in this presentation here, you can just click here to register. Even if you can't make it that day, if you sign up for it now, they'll send it to your inbox, so you can just check it out later. But I'm just basically going to be talking about like Twitter 101. So what kind of Twitter is about, people to check out on Twitter, and why Twitter is so fantastic. And I've talked to you about it already, but it's really where I am today. I credit to, Twitter, social media in a sense. So if you get a chance, please check that out and share that with other people too, because it's a really neat thing to see. Then I have. And then also on here, there's a 14-day Twitter challenge that you can do, created by Jared Robinson, as well as an infographic. So all you have to do is kind of click on here, and you can go through the steps as to how to set up your Twitter account. Then a neat thing that's kind of happening is the Phys Ed Summit, and this is one of the things that the Physedagogy group is a part of, and that we're checking out, or that we're doing. So this is on October 25th, so it's a Saturday, and it's at 9 a.m. Central Time. And basically what's happening is we're going to have kind of like a big conference, but it's like an online conference. So you can sit in your pajamas on your bed and watching what's going on, or participating, because we are having a roundtable discussion with pre-service teachers. So if any of you are interested in being a part of the actual Google Hangout and having a conversation with other pre-service teachers, I'll be moderating it, and we're going to have someone else kind of helping us out with it. But if you want to have a conversation with a couple other pre-service teachers from around the globe, then please let me know, because this would be a very, very neat thing to be a part of. And if not, you can watch it. And it's basically from the comfort of your home. We have a couple sessions in the first block. We're going to be talking about physical literacy, standards-based teaching, technology, and there's another one, and I can't remember what it is. But then, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you just explain to the group a little bit more about the the pedagogy group, the PE pedagogy group, and like sort of how they came about?
Oh, the Phys-Ed, yeah. So Phys-Edagogy. So basically, this group was created by Adam Howell, and sorry, just time out. Oh, no, I don't. Okay, just have to move on to the next activity then. I didn't give an answer sheet to my principal who's covering my class right now. So I'm like, just move on to the next activity. Okay, sorry, Phys-Edagogy. So the group was created by Adam Howell. He's on Twitter as well. And he created this group basically to discuss best practices in phys ed. And he brought Matt Pomeroy and I, so Matt's from Wisconsin, and I'm obviously from Saskatchewan, Canada, and he brought us in to kind of help out with it. So we talked about Google Scripts, Google Apps. Matt and I were doing like a Sportfolio chat, and basically kind of talking about what some of the things that we're doing some blogging. And just this summer, he brought on a few more people, and now it's kind of evolved into just a big discussion of best practices in phys ed. And then a couple of the members of the group, and then another person that's not a part of the Phys-Edagogy team, William Bodie, decided that we wanted to do this Phys Ed Summit, this online conference, and basically teaching pedagogy that will take you to the summit, professional development that's free and that you can come to from the comforts of your home. It's not supposed to replace, conferences that you go to, because there is something to say about having those face-to-face interactions. If you can go to Bounce this year, go. Like, it's going to be I'm trying to figure out how I can get there, because it's going to be an amazing experience, just the networking with people and getting to have those conversations and meet those people. So there's something to say about those types of conferences. But this one is just something to kind of, in the lull time when you don't have those conferences to go to, this is going to kind of help you out with it. But with the whole Phys-Edagogy crew, kind of what we believe in is talking about best practices and trying to push the profession forward in our thinking. And the old PE, we don't want the old PE to be or the gym, right? We want phys ed, the new wave. It's, so that it's engaging for every student and it's not just geared towards our athletes. So it's, just a discussion of best practices. It's kind of what Phys-Edagogy is all about. Hopefully I explained that right. Mm-hmm. So that's the Phys Ed Summit. So if you want to check that out, that's on October 25th. And if you just go to physedagogy.com, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's being tweeted out about it. Who should you follow? Some people that you can follow. There's a list of people here. Now, again, I always struggle with, well, who do you follow? Because everybody on Twitter has something to say. And lots of the times it's the people that are willing to talk and share become like the people that are the big names or the experts. And for me, I'm no means an expert in any sense. I'm a fourth-year teacher. What do I know compared to Doug Gletty? I'm sure you all know who Doug is, right? What do I know compared to him? So it's like, there's so many people on Twitter that know so many things that maybe don't have the comfort level of social media quite yet, that if we can get them on Twitter and get them talking about things, oh man, the things that we could have, the discussions that we could have would be fantastic. My learning has just gone straight up, exponential growth, straight up. And it's fantastic because had I been by myself, because when I taught at Carleton, that was my first year there, and then I moved to the small town. Then I lived in Aitken and I taught in Star City. So I was the only phys ed teacher. So had I not been connected on Twitter, I would have kind of been just closed my door and did what I did. Whereas on Twitter, I can see all these great ideas that people are doing and sharing, and we're reflecting together, and it's just a really neat experience to have those conversations with people that are passionate about phys ed like I am. I get excited when I talk about things like this. So this is just a small amount of people that are just really great people to connect with, that would be willing to kind of connect and talk with you. If you click on the list here, there's some more people. But even if you just go on these people's who they follow, check out the people who they follow. Follow some of those people, because everybody on there has something important to say and has a story that they can tell, an experience that they can share that's fantastic. And then some resources and websites that you can check out. Just all right here. I won't go through them all because we're running out of time, but you can check that out. And another thing that I didn't get a chance to talk about, this one got pushed to the end, whoops, flipped learning. And I don't have much experience with this, but John Tate had tweeted this out to me a while ago when I was asking about what should I talk about in a presentation about incorporating meaningful technology. But basically what flipped learning is that the subject or the content area is kind of for homework, and then the practical part of it is done in the classroom in some sense. So if you want to know more about kind of how that works, please just check out these, just 2 minutes. Please just check out these different links that I've added in here. Yeah, you can just check it out and get more information on it. And then a couple crowdsourced resources that have been put on here through people that have done it through Twitter, and basically like the phys ed instant activity. So if you want an instant activity that you could do like in a transitional period in your with your students, you can click here and check it out. It's a little presentation, and it's basically crowdsourced. So it's a whole bunch of people, so made by PE geeks for PE geeks. So a whole bunch of people on Twitter have added all their different activities that they do. So it's really kind of neat. So you can check that out. So technology and phys ed, brain break ideas for teachers, so for classroom teachers, phys ed team building, adventure ed challenges, all kind of neat stuff. So I guess here, I'll go quickly and I'll just end. So basically my advice to you, work your way through technology slowly. Like I've thrown out a lot of things. I've talked really fast. I've thrown out a lot of ideas to you right now, and just go slow. This is over 4 years. So all the stuff that I've done are things that I've talked about. Some of the things I haven't even done yet. So as I talk about this stuff, go slow. Pick one thing that you want to focus on, and make sure that it has a purpose to increase student engagement, to increase classroom management, to help with behavior, to increase efficiency for yourself so you don't go crazy. Pick one thing that's going to help you. Be willing to take risks. I talked about some of the things that I've done that I've completely bombed, like just failed, and I'm just like facepalm, like, oh geez. But it's okay. You know, be willing to take those risks and be willing to talk about them. Don't be ashamed about those risks, because that's how we learn. I tell my students, failure or fail, I have the poster on the wall, it's frequent attempts in learning, what it stands for, right? We have to make mistakes. If we're not making mistakes, we're not learning. So please don't be afraid to talk about those things or ask questions and say,
no, she's still talking.
Oh, sorry. Are you asking me a question?
I'll text her. I'm like, power went out in Edmonton.
Oh, I can hear you. Are you guys still there? Are you still there?
And this is what happens with technology. So we're just going to...
Stacy, are you guys still there?
We can hear you now. You're back. We just had
Okay.
a little glitch here, so just give us a sec, because we lost your visual, but we can still hear you. So
Okay.
you can continue to just keep talking, because I know that your time is short.
Okay.
We can't see because we had a little power glitch here, and the projector's just warming up.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we can hear you. It's just we're waiting for the projector to come back online.
Okay.
So just keep talking.
Perfect. Okay. So, basically, yeah. So be willing to take risks. You're not learning unless you're making mistakes. If an opportunity presents itself in your teaching practice, take it. There's lots of times where sometimes I take on too much because I have to be part of this opportunity, because selfishly it helps me learn more, but ultimately it's going to benefit my students, and that's why we're teachers, right? Those are our clients. That's what we do. And in the end, kids always win. Being on social media, using technology and phys ed, as long as it's using it the right way, it's only going to benefit our students. So that's basically all I have to say. And
We can see you now again. We can see you again now.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you can see me or you can see my screen?
We see your screen.
Okay, perfect.
Now we
There
can
go.
see you. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really all I have to say. I know it was fast and a little hectic and a little crazy, but do you have any quick questions for me? I have about 2 minutes left.
Anyone want to ask her anything about technology, phys ed, things she does in the classroom with kids, other than the stuff she's already shared with you? This is your opportunity. Yeah.
Any privacy things, like when you're talking about uploading and using e-portfolios and stuff like that, is there FOIA concerns and whatnot?
Great question. In our school division, so with Google Apps for Education, we can keep things fairly private, so it's only shared within our division, and then it's only shared with the people that have the link to the portfolio. So we only have access to it, our student only has access to it, and then we can share that link with a parent. So with Google Apps, the nice thing about that is that it's all kind of maintained. So one of those things that we have to be careful with, you're right, is you need to make sure that you check And I should have mentioned that when you're using tech in phys ed, if you're videotaping students or things like that, what is the school policy? What is the division policy in regards to using technology in your schools? Because if they say no cell phones, well, probably don't use your cell phones. So, I mean, again, I'm in a very forward-thinking division, and I've been very lucky with where I'm teaching and what I get to teach, because we have our acceptable use policy with technology. So students sign it in order for them to be able to use the Wi-Fi and things like that. And then, so check that out. Make sure you're checking out your acceptable use policy and the privacy issues that are there. So like I said, with Google Apps, we kind of have it covered so that it's only private or only shared with a certain amount of people, but we don't share that publicly. That's why when I shared my Sportfolio picture there of what I had, I blanked out all of the students' responses just because I didn't want somebody to know, oh, hey, that was mine that you shared. So I blocked it all out. So definitely make sure you ask, especially talk to your administration. Whenever you're doing any of these things with technology, let your administration know so they can come check it out, because they're your biggest advocate. They really, really are. If you can get your admin on board, they are the ones that's going to be able to support you the most.
Any other questions for Naomi? No? Yeah, in the back we've got another one.
How do you deal with the kids that have the kids that don't? The technology when it comes to like using a smartphone in the classroom?
Great question. Usually I just have my students that are, so if they group together, like the majority of my students, so at the very beginning of the year, I check and find out who has a smartphone or a device that they could use. Sometimes I've let them use my iPod before, but it really, I'll pair them up in groups if they don't have a smartphone, or they'll sit, they sit with the person, they can sit with their friend, and then they work together that way. If you only have one person in your class that's using the smartphone, don't use the Pull Everywhere app. Like, it's not going to work, right? So you need to know your students and what access they have. If you have only one iPad in the classroom, trying to maximize it so that students can use it. Or if only one student has a phone, you need to make sure that the technology that you're bringing in works with the students that you have, works with their needs. If only one person has the phone, you can implement some of those different things.
Another question up front here.
How do you manage distractions like texting or going on like Facebook or Twitter or something like that?
Great question. It's a conversation you have with the kids ahead of time. And one of the things I say with my kids too is that if I catch you once, never again does this happen. We're trying to implement things that are engaging to you and allow you to become a part of something. And if we're just going to fool around and be distracted from our devices, then we don't get to use our devices. So it becomes pretty clear that we have that conversation ahead of time, and then I always allow them to voice their concerns. So I have them have their phone on their desk so that I can see. So if they have their phone, if I say, show me your screen, they should be able to show me what's on their screen. Because I was like, we're using it for educational purposes. There shouldn't be anything on there I shouldn't be able to see. So having those conversations and just making sure that the students know about their digital citizenship and what that looks like and what that means. So having those conversations is huge. And if you have students that kind of break those rules, then you take it out and you say, okay, this is something we're not going to do. We tried it. We won't do it. You can try and bring it back in a little bit later and see, okay, so we've tried it. It didn't work. I'm going to try it a different way. We're going to see if this works for you. If not, okay, then we won't do it. So then you don't use the phones. And then you only use the school iPads to try and minimize those distractions. Because, yeah, it can be. Then you have those conversations with the kids. So I think I have to go here now. I can hear my kids getting ready for my Math 10 class now, so.
Do you have time for one quick question?
One more question, yeah.
One more.
I just wanted to know if you got retweeted or not.
Oh, let's check and see if we, let's see what we got here. Well, it looks like I have 46 notifications, so there we go, check that out. So, yeah, it looks like we've got a few people that have checked things out, or have added to the Tech and Phys Ed. Yeah, and I've got 46 notifications, so people have been sending messages to me or retweeting the video and stuff too, so that's kind of neat.
Okay, well, Naomi, I know you have to get going, so on behalf of the class, I'd like to thank you today for coming in live from Tri-City. I hope it's a little bit warmer there than it is here. And I will continue this conversation with students, and if they have anything, I'll have them forwarded on. And I will get the live version of this up onto eClass after. So once again, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much. I know I talk fast. I'm usually trying to get through a whole bunch of stuff, and I get excited about things, so I talk really fast. But if you have any more questions, please just fire me off an email, naomihartle@gmail.com. It's just a quick, easy thing, and just send me an email or send me a tweet, or just ask those questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. I feel like I'm a pretty nice person, pretty approachable person, so just ask me questions, and I'm more than willing to share or point you in the right direction, or to somebody that would be willing to kind of help you out with it. So thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this group and have this conversation with you today. So have a great day, and I got to get to my students, so see ya.
Thank you, Naomi.
Bye.